If you would tell us about some of your ideas, proposals, if elected to this office.
I do have some of the things as a brief outline on the page that I jotted down for the editorial board to just look at some of my ideas. But my big issue with government and a reason for controller is consistency. I think we have a lack of consistency in government, not only in controller, but from the top on down. There's never seems to be anybody that will put their hand in the air and be accountable or be consistent with their policies. And I think that's crucial in government, is at least, if nothing else, if you can have a policy and follow the policy, everybody will know exactly what the rules are. And if you don't do that, then there's no guidelines. Without some kind of order, you have chaos, obviously. That's why we have a constitution. That's why we have all kinds of rules in our business. We have ethics codes and things like that in government. And if nobody's there to enforce that, what's the point? So as controller, one of the things that I want to do is make sure that those policies are adhered to on the spending side, mostly. We have a lot of problems in spending, and I've done quite a bit of research, as Jennifer will tell you. I am not one that will sit back and just take information and say, well, that's just the way it is. If somebody tells me something, I'm going to do the research to find out if in fact that is the way it is. Not just because you said so, but because that's the way it actually is. So I've done some research in the county government on the controller side, and some of these issues that have come up recently in the corruptions with the big paychecks for the vacation pay and annual leave and issues like that are because the county allows for compensation time. And a lot of people aren't aware of that, but I found that out by doing the research. And the county policy says they're allowed compensation time. The problem with that is, and I brought this to the commissioners meeting, is the problem with compensation time is they have to document it, and they're not documenting it. So if someone comes into their office during the day and works over 8 hours and they decide they're going to take compensation time or flex time, whichever you want to call it, they just arbitrarily write down that they have 4 hours coming and they take it the next day. That's not the way it's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work is you should have a spreadsheet, and John Doe has a name, and John Doe puts his comp time down, and then John Doe takes his comp time, and it's deducted. So what happens is we have people like the deputy warden who can take a month off for sick time, and it's not documented, so then he doesn't have to use his vacation time. So if in fact he decides to leave the county, he gets all that money accrued to him, and that's just not fair to the taxpayers because he's actually using that time. So as a controller, those are one of the things that I want to try and keep track of. The other thing is to have a clear policy in the office, job descriptions. I've done some research in the county, and there's a lot of jobs in our county that do not have any job descriptions as to qualifications. I think everybody in the county that works for the county should have a qualification, much like we have in our private sector. If Mr. Connors wants to hire somebody to do newspaper or write a story, he's certainly not going to get somebody that can't write or can't spell. He's going to make sure that's a qualification. We don't have that in the county, it seems. County Controller's Office has, at the moment, I don't believe we have a CPA in the office. I don't believe there's in fact, I know there's no policy that says if you apply for a job in the County Controller's Office, you have to have a county background to do it. I just think that's not fair to the taxpayers. If we're going to pay somebody to do a job, we need to make sure that they're qualified to do that job. And so those are some of the issues. And there's quite a bit more on the paper that I'll just let you use as you need to, but a hotline for the people is one of them. You know, if there's somebody in the government, if somebody sees a problem in county spending, they should be able to pick up the phone and call a hotline and leave a message anonymously to point it out to the people in government to say, I see a problem here. And then we can investigate it and find out that if we had that, maybe we wouldn't have the problems we have today.